President, please be seated. The court is now back in session. The floor is once again given to the defense team to continue putting questions to the witness. You may proceed, counsel.
Thank you, Mr. President, but we were finished.
Thank you, and the floor now is given to the defense team for Kyo Sampon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon. My name is Antagise. I'm the international co-counsel of Mr. Kyo-Sampon, and in that capacity, I'm going to put a few complementary questions to you. You have told us that you no longer remember the name of the commune chief of Pim Chikang under the DK regime. Do you remember, however, the name of the security chief of that commune?
I know a person named Kan and Horn. I only know their names, but I never met them.
And according to you, what was Hung's position?
He worked within the compound of the pagoda, and he was the chief of that prison.
And aside from him, do you remember who was working at the pagoda?
I don't, since I never entered the pagoda during the regime.
In your statement E3/5257, French ERN 00342669, Khmer ERN 002431004, English 00251018. And in your statement, you speak about the group, the Long Sword Unit. So I understood that before the chamber you explained that you only belonged to that unit for a very short period, 2 months. But in your statement, you tell us that this group was divided into several subunits. And you said when you answered the question, who was arresting people, you answered the security unit. So do you remember saying that? And do you remember that there was indeed a security unit within the Long Sword Unit?
The security force members stayed and worked within the premise of the pagoda. And as for the Long Sword group, I did not know the details about them.
Donc, quand vous évoquez dans votre
So when you refer to the security unit in your statement, you are only referring to the one that was in the pagoda. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Durant les 2 mois,
According to your statement, during the 2 months when you were a member of the Long Sword group, do you remember the names of the members of that group? the names of other members of that group?
Members of the Longsword group were all very young, and I did not have any contact with any of them.
Est-ce que le nom de
Does the name Lav Chai, and it is number 1 on the list I circulated, does that name Lav Chai mean anything to you?
No, the name Lovejoy does not ring a bell.
Alors je crois qu'il y a peut-être un problème de
There may well be a pronunciation problem. I sent the interpreters a list of names to avoid any problem with pronunciation, and the person is the first name on the list, Lav Chai.
Mr. President, the proper pronunciation is Lovejoy, and I think there is a spelling mistake in the transcript. Thank you. President, it's Lovejoy, not Joy. And Mr. Witness, does that name ring a bell to you? Answer: no, Lovejoy does not ring a bell to me.
Est-ce que le nom de Meng Li, numéro 3,
How about name number 3 on the list? That's Meng Li. Does that ring a bell to you?
I cannot recall that name.
est-ce que le nom de Heng Pa vous dit
Does the name Heng Pa ring a bell?
I cannot recall this name. Maybe they use true names at the same time, and I'm not familiar with the names that you have mentioned so far.
Et est-ce que le nom de Yun
Does the name Yun, that is number 5 on the list, ring a bell?
And what was the position of June? And do you know his full name?
C'est le seul nom que j'ai et
That is the only name I have in relation to the Longsword group. I do not know the position he held in that group, but it is in relation to the Longsword group.
I know a person named June, but that the person was not a member of the Longsword group.
et quelle était sa position
And what was the position held by that person during the Democratic Kampuchea regime?
He was chief of a mobile unit. And his full name is U Yun. And during the regime, he was in charge of education at the district. Currently, he is retired.
Vous avez fait partie de l'unité des longues épées.
You were a member of the Longsword group for 2 months. Did you hear members of the population say anything regarding the longsword group?
President, Mr. Witness, please wait, and the International Deputy Co-Prosecutor, you have the floor.
Thank you, Your Honour. I think the question is misstating the evidence. In his statement, he says he was the member of the Longsword Group, but in his testimony, he's stating that he wasn't a member, and that's what Judge Laverne cleared up with him. So it's mixing two things together, but that was his testimony today. He said he was near where the Longsword Group was, but he wasn't in the Longsword Group.
Est-ce que, monsieur le témoin, vous pourrez...
Mr. Witness, could you clarify this matter for us? Were you a member of the Longsword Group for 2 months or not, even though you had to work in a rice field?
I was never a member of the Longsword Group. I was tasked to guard the rice band for 2 months, and then I was reassigned to plow the rice fields in Kohtoj.
Est-ce que vous avez entendu parler du groupe...
Did you hear members of the population talk about the Longsword Group during the Democratic Kampuchea regime?
No, I did not, since I worked at a far distance from where they were.
Et où est-ce qu'ils étaient?
And where were they?
We were in the same area, but we stayed separately and we slept at separately.
Alors quand vous dites ils étaient loin de là,
Now, when you say that they were far away from where I was, can you give us an idea of the distance when you say that they were far away from you?
Their sleeping quarter was about 50 meters from where I was. They stayed at their sleeping quarter while I stayed at the rice barn.
à 50 mètres, ça veut dire que vous étiez...
50 meters away, that means that you were able to see members of that group from where you were sleeping, from where you were.
I did not dare look at them, and I did not know whether they were tasked to go to this direction or that direction, as my main focus was to guard the rice barn.
Et pourquoi est-ce que vous n'osiez pas les regarder?
And why didn't you dare look at them?
I was afraid. I was afraid that I would be accused of trying to know about the nature of their work. In simple terms, I was afraid.
Comme vous l'a indiqué ce matin, monsieur,
As the prosecutor told you this morning, one witness came to testify before this chamber, and I want to confront you with his statement before the chamber. since so far all we've done has been to read his prior statements before the co-investigating judges. And that witness stated that he accompanied a group of Cham to the Otrakun Pagoda alongside the Longsword group. That witness is Seng Srung. And since you say you know him, my question to you is whether you knew about the fact that he accompanied a group of Cham people with the members of the Longsword group to the Otrakun Pagoda.
I was not aware of that. I did not know whether Saint Srun escorted the Cham people. As I stated, I stayed at the Koto and I only returned after 1979.
Plus précisément,
as regards the distinction you made between the security unit, which you said was within the premises of the pagoda, and the persons in charge of arrest. This is what Seng Srung said at the hearing of the 14th of September 2015, shortly after 14 hours 13. This is what he stated. It was not the security forces that went to arrest people. It was the Longsword group that had been set up in 1977 and which took the initiative to go and arrest persons directly. As for the security forces, they were at the base, at this detention center to receive and arrest those persons. The members of the Longsword group were those in charge of arrests. End of quote. That was a free translation. My question to you at this stage, Mr. Tai Kim Hoon, is this. Does that refresh your memory? Did you not hear at any point in time that the Longsword group was in charge of carrying out arrests?
I did not say any members of the Longsword group went to make arrest. As I said, I did not stay in a village, so I wasn't aware of whatever happened in the village. I worked on the island and I never took a boat to cross the river, and I only made a boat trip like every 2 months to come and get my rice supply. For that reason, I was not aware at all of any activities that the group involved.
toujours le 14 septembre.
Still on the 14th of September 2015, shortly before 14 hours 22 and 08 seconds, and it is still Seng Srung testifying. He explains under what circumstances he escorted the Cham to the Otrakun Pagoda. This is what he states. Free translation. I understood that they were being arrested. It was the members of the Longsword group who were arresting them. I was there standing guard and to prevent them from going to the main road. End of quote. Does that event remind you of anything, or it doesn't remind you of anything at all?
If Mr. Saint Srun said he stood guard there, it implies that he was part of the team. I myself did not know Saint Srun at that time, and I became to know him only after 1979.
Le problème, c'est que
The problem that arises is that on the 15th of September 2015, Seng Strung gives more details regarding the longsword group on that day. And he says shortly before 9 hours 11 and 20 seconds at the hearing of the 14th of September 2015, free translation, I recognized Tai Kim Hoon clearly because he was one who had brought the charms from where I was located. End of quote. Free translation. Do you understand that Mr. Seng Strung is inculpating you specifically on the day 200 to 300 charms were arrested, and he did so by saying that he was present and he recognized you clearly? What are your remarks on this subject?
I categorically reject that statement. I reject the statement that Saint John alleged that I was chief of security. I completely reject this statement. I cannot accept it.
je comprends que vous rejetez.
I do understand that you are denying his statements. On that day, would you say that Seng Strung has any particular reasons to make false accusations against you? Does he have a grudge with you? And if yes, what is the basis for such a grudge?
I do not know anything about that. As I said, Saint John was a soldier. As for the pagoda, I was a member of the pagoda committee. I helped to cleanse the temple. And to my recollection, Saint John did not go along while at all with the monks residing in the pagoda, and sometimes he even scolded the monks. And only lately that he changed, and then he came to assist in doing work in the pagoda. And in the past, he even actually grabbed a portion of the pagoda land and built his own home. Regarding his allegation, I categorically denied it. I was never a security chief or his supervisor or making arrests of any jam people. Not at all. Actually, one day he came to my house and he said that he was going to Phnom Penh, and I asked why, and he said he was called by the court. And I said, yes, then you should go because you don't have any thing to hide. And then he asked me whether I was a member of the longsword group, and I told him, you better be careful, I am not a member of the longsword group, you have to be clear about that. And that I was arrested from the Gulf when I was drafted to be a soldier, and my wife and my children actually wept when I was arrested. And you cannot say that I was a member of the longsword group at all. I was drafted to be a soldier after my biography was taken, and I felt the pain that some of my relatives had been killed. And then he asked me whether that is true, and I said, yes, of course, that is the truth. And I clarified the matter with him, and I will go and talk to him after I return home after my testimony before this court. I had to confront him to bring out the truth. And of course, if I were his superior at the time, I will be responsible before the law. And I stated already, and I'm stating again, I became to know him after 1979, and before that, I did not know this Saint John at all.
C'était une longue réponse.
That was a lengthy answer. Sangsrung indeed talked to the chamber about the Pagoda Committee. In answer to the question why he had said that the members of the Pagoda Committee were all Khmer Rouge people. And this is what he said, 15th of September 2015, and it starts at shortly before 9 hours 45 seconds. I will be brief in my answer. Free translation. As regards the members of the Pagoda Committee, Pumpi was the chief of the kitchen, and there was another person who was head of the committee, and he's still alive today. And the next question put to him was as follows: why did you say all the members of the Pagoda Committee were Khmer Rouge? The two people you have just mentioned, did they have any positions under Democratic Kampuchea in your commune? And his answer was as follows: the two individuals held positions in the Democratic Kampuchea regime. Tai Kim Hoon was the deputy of the Longsword Group, and Pen Pie was the chief of logistics in the commune. He was also the chief of the kitchen in the upper Sambomir Ska. So the two guys had a position in the period. End of quote. Here again, we hear Sreng Srung saying that you were leading the persons who arrested a group of Cham during the Democratic Kampuchea regime, but he again confirms that you were the deputy head of the Longsword Group. Do you have any remarks to make in this regard?
My response is that I categorically reject the statement made by Sengstrun. It is an unfair accusation against me. Pen Phi was a layman at the pagoda, and he actually accused Sengstrun of grabbing a portion of the land of the pagoda. For that reason, he had a grudge against this person, and I did not know why he blamed me and accused me of being a security chief. Maybe that's the reason that one day a representative from this court came to ask me whether I was the security chief, and I said no, my name is Tai Kim Hoon, and from what I understood, the chief of the security there was Hoon. And then I asked, how come you came to know, to ask me whether I was the security chief? And the investigator said somebody lived near the pagoda made that allegation, and now I know who the person is. And I reject that allegation before this court.
Part of your discussion with the people who interviewed you was recorded. It's document D166/42.1. And I would like to read out to you again what was recorded from what you said, and you will confirm to me if you are indeed referring to this event and to this statement. And it's ERN French 00114246, Khmer 01141831. There is no English translation, but I will read slowly to make things easier for the interpreters. So this is what you said when you were interviewed by the investigators of the OCIJ. It is possible that my statements were not properly recorded, unless somebody wants to slander me. It's possible that this happened. For example, maybe someone wants to become a pagoda chief. However, that person did not get that job, and the job was given to me because most people prefer that I get that job. This can happen, and we have to be careful about this. End of quote, free translation. So, do you mean here, well, first of all, do you remember having said that? And does that correspond to what you just told us regarding Seng Srung's accusations against you?
Answer. At the time, he put such a question to me whether I was security chief at that time. I told him that I was simply an ordinary citizen. He said that I told him that at that time I heard Horn was the security chief. I asked him who told him that I was the security chief in the regime. In reply, he said that someone in the village told him about that. And it was said that Seng Srung grabbed a portion of land to be himself. And hundreds of villagers in the village said that that portion of land belonged to the pagoda, not belongs to Seng Srung. So Seng Srung accused me on the matter blindly.
J'en ai terminé.
I am done with my cross-examination, and my colleague Kong Sam-on has a few extra questions to put to the witness.
President, you may now proceed. Counsel Kong Sam-on. Counsel Kong Sam-on. Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, the chamber. Good afternoon, Mr. Witness. This morning, you made a mention that you had just recovered from illness when you were interviewed. What kind of disease did you have before the interview? Answer. I had 5 injection shots before I am here because I had 5 AV bags before I am here, and my head became hot before I am here. Counsel, Mr. Witness, I want to know about the time when you were interviewed by the investigators of the OCIJ. You stated that you had just recovered from the disease when you were interviewed. So what kind of disease did you contract before the interview? Answer. I went to see a doctor in the hospital, and I was told that I had a problem with the brain. So I came to Gotoma hospital in town, and after a period of time, I went back home. Currently, I have been prescribed with the medicines for me to have a good sleep and also to give me energy. Counsel, thank you. Can you tell the court whether the disease at that time affected your memory? Answer. President, Mr. Witness, please hold on. You may not proceed. International Deputy Co-Prosecutor.
Your Honour, it may be a translation issue, but I didn't hear the witness say that he had a disease. In the English. So perhaps that could be clarified.
Counsel Kong Samon, I am not sure I understand the objection by the International Deputy Co-Prosecutor. I am now asking the witness about the illness or disease this witness had before the interview in the past. So can I ask Mr. Co-Prosecutor to ask about, to state again the objection? President, you may continue your questioning, Counsel Kong Samon. Counsel Kong Samon, in 2009, you stated that you had an illness. So how did that illness affect your memory? Answer. I tend to forget where I placed my belongings or my things. So I have been weak from Pol Pot time while I was forced to work hard and I was beaten. And I was hospitalized in the past. Counsel, how long had you recovered before you were interviewed? Answer. You want to know about the interview? In the past, I had recovered 1 month before the interview took place, said witness. Counsel, did you still have medicines at the time you were interviewed? Answer, yes. I was still on medication. Counsel, thank you. Did you verify what was written down in the written record of the interview by the investigators? Did someone read back for you the written record of the interview at that time? Answer. I did not read myself the written record of the interview at that time. I asked my elder sibling to read the written record interview for me. So it was different from, so the way we read the written record of the interview by myself and the way somebody read for us was completely different. Counsel, at that time, did you ask anyone to correct the written record of the interview? Answer. I do not really understand what you are asking, Mr. Counsel. Counsel. For instance, there was wrong information noted down in the written record of interview and you requested to have it corrected. Did you notice that there were mistakes made in the written record of the interview? Answer. I noticed that I may have stated the year wrongly. After 1979, I had been evacuated to live in PMG Kong, said the witness. Counsel, you made mention that point already. Did you request to have that year changed when you were interviewed in 2009, or you requested to have it corrected now? Witness, I have just realized that I may have answered wrong in some particular points in the written record of the interview. Counsel, you stated about the time when you were living close to the pagoda, and you stated that your house was located about 50 meters away from the pagoda before 1975. When did you leave your house, which was close to Old Tokun Pagodas? Answer. I was transferred out of my area in 1976. It was the time that many people were smashed within the compound of the pagoda, and the people were not allowed to walk close to the pagoda. Counsel, how did you know that it was in 1976 that you were evacuated? Answer. I noticed that in 1976, the pagoda was turned into a security center to house people. Counsel, thank you. In relation to the time you went to live in Koh Toj, when did you leave for that place? Answer. I left to work in a farm at Koh Toj in late 1977, and I was living there until 1979 when the regime failed. Counsel, thank you. What about the period between 1976 and 1977? Where did you live? Answer. In that period, between 1976 and 1977, I was assigned to plough the field at Padau. Sometimes I was assigned to work at Okandal. So as a person in charge of ploughing field, I was relocated and reassigned to work in different areas. Counsel, thank you. When you were assigned to plough the field, were you allowed to stay in a house on permanent basis, or did you change your house? Answer. When I was assigned to plough the field, I was sleeping under the tree where my cows were also tied to that tree. Counsel, is it correct to say that you did not stay in any house within the village? Answer. Counsel, my question is that when you were assigned to plough the field, you did not stay in a house in the village where you were evacuated from. I mean, you did not stay in a house close to Otopun Pagoda. Is that correct? Answer. After my evacuation, I no longer stay in the house within that village. I stayed in another house in a different place. Counsel, I want you to listen to my question carefully. You were assigned to plough the field. Did you stayed in a house within your village? You stated that you were sleeping in the field. My question is, did you have a house within your village, and were you required to stay in your house in the village? Answer. I was assigned to plough in vegetable farms, and there were small huts built for me to stay in. I was not allowed to come back and stay in my house in the village. Counsel, thank you. You made mention that you came to have a meal in the dining hall within the village. And when was that period? Answer. It was when I was reassigned to plough the field within the village, so I was allowed to have meal in the dining hall within the cooperative or within the village. And whenever I was assigned to plough the field at the lake, I would eat at that place. Question. So where was it exactly when you were assigned to plough the field within the cooperative close to the dining hall? Answer. It was not 10 meters away from the dining hall. I was assigned to plough the field about 100 or 200 meters away from the dining hall. Counsel. How often were you assigned to plough the field close to the kitchen or the dining hall? I want to know about the time when you were assigned to plough the field close to the dining hall. You already told the chamber that you were assigned to plough the field in the forest at the council and also at the lake. So how often were you assigned to plough the field close to the dining hall? Answer. I would be assigned to plough the field in the forest more often than the field close to the dining hall. Counsel, thank you. You told the chamber that you were working in the vegetable farm at Gordo in 1977, and you would visit your village once in every 2 months. How long did you stay in your village when you had chance to visit your village? Or did you have to return to your work site on the same day? Answer. For instance, if I went to visit my village at 1 or 2 in the afternoon, I had to return to Gordo in the evening. Counsel, thank you, Mr. Witness. Mr. President, I am done with my line of questioning. President, you may now proceed. International Deputy Co-Prosecutor.
Thank you, Your Honour. Just a brief matter. The witness has said that when he would leave this court that he would go and confront the other witness, and I would ask that you advise this witness to not confront other witnesses that have appeared before this court as a witness protection measure for both people. I'd ask that you would provide that advice to this witness. Thank you.
President. I don't think it does not matter for him. He is fully matured and he is part of the Pagoda committee. However, Mr. Witness, please do not use any violence when you confront with another person, that is Mr. Singh Strun. It is your obligation to testify before the chamber in order that the chamber can find the truth. Everyone is contributing to finding the truth, and I believe you are part of the Pagoda committee and you are fully mature and you will not cause any incidents to happen while confronting with any concerned individual. But please do not try to confront with Mr. Singh Strun and any other witnesses who have appeared before the chamber. Under the law, witnesses are not allowed to confront with any other concerned witnesses who have testified before the chamber. Do you understand it, Mr. Kum Huon? Witness, yes, I understand, Mr. President. President, the hearing today has come to a conclusion. Thank you, Mr. Kum Huon. Your testimony will contribute to the truth and you may not be accused. You may return to your residence or to any other place you wish. I wish you good luck and prosperity. Court officer, please work with a vessel to send Mr. Tai Kum Huon back to his residence or to any destination he wishes. Thank you also, Mr. Mohammed Tia, the duty counsel for the witness. You may also be accused. Before we adjourn the hearing, we still have a few minutes, so the chamber would like to give the floor to Counsel Kope to present the response to the submission request by co-prosecutor yesterday. It relates document A366. You may now proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'm also mindful of the clock, and the points that I'm going to make, some of them are quite principled. So my question is whether it would not be better, because it's very late in the day, I think everybody's tired, that I make my submissions tomorrow morning early.
President, thank you, Counsel, and I'd like to hand the floor now to Judge Claudia Fens.
I have just one question for clarification. Perhaps I misunderstood what you said at the very beginning. Are you providing a response to this request orally, or are you making a different submission?
I will be making a different submission. We will file written submissions as provided by the internal rules, but this is a different request. It's two requests for clarifications actually, and one request which has broader impact on possible delay of the proceedings. So I think it would make more sense to do it tomorrow when everybody's fresh.
President, thank you, Council. And if you need more time to do with your submission, let we do it tomorrow. And tomorrow we will hear the testimony of the civil party, and we try to complete with the scheduling, as the testimony of the civil party has been put off for 3 or 4 days now. And we will try to overcome the logistical issue and proceed with our scheduling. The proceedings today come to an adjournment. The chamber will adjourn now and resume tomorrow, that is Thursday, 17 September 2015, commencing from 9 o'clock in the morning. Tomorrow, the chamber will hear testimony of a civil party, that is through TCCP 252. The information is for the parties and the general public. Security personnel, you are instructed to take the two accused back to the detention facility and have them return to attend the proceedings tomorrow before 9 o'clock in the morning. The court is now adjourned.